Welcome to the Security Flow Data Renderer training video. This video will discuss what a data renderer is and how it is used to improve the usability of incident timelines. Prior to creating a sample data renderer, we'll review our sample flow. After creating the sample data renderer, we'll quickly discuss plugin supplied data renderers. So why have a data renderer? Within a timeline, you may see entries that display a message difference in JSON format. While that information is quite useful, JSON is not easily interpreted by an end user. A data renderer is able to transform the JSON into a user interface, a user-friendly display format which is easily interpreted. Before creating our data renderer, I'll go over the example flow or playbook used to create our incident timelines. The flow is manually triggered to retrieve Exchange Server mail flow rules, also known as transport rules. Two different mail flow rules are requested to illustrate a success case and a failure case. Sender block list is an existing mail flow rule, while the mail flow rule called invalid does not exist and will cause a failure. Now, on to the fun stuff. Creating a data renderer. At this point, I've manually injected the two mail flow rule names into the flows to create the incidents. As I enter the timeline, you'll see there is no data renderer, so the raw JSON is displayed. To create a data renderer, I'll click the Tools button to open the Data Renderer Editor dialog. The Renderer Configuration tab of the dialog configures the name of the renderer, the rendering priority within a timeline audit entry, the matchers, and response selector. The matchers define the JSON audit expression to determine when a renderer is used in a timeline audit entry. The response selector specifies the response data available to the response renderer user interface. The preceded matcher here will match when a Microsoft 365 Exchange Admin Center action is equal to getRule. The response selector defaults to selecting all data within the unique ID of the plugin instance. With the response data selected, I'll now create the user interface. There are three root elements available: a heading, which I'm currently configuring, a row, and an alarm row. An alarm row has a background color which is either statically set or dynamically set. I've added a row, and from previous inspection I know the original JSON message difference contains a large object called rule with the data I'm interested in displaying. So I'll use an object table component for the UI. I've labeled the object table mail flow rule, and from the response data I'll select the rule object. I'm now able to choose data from the rule object for display in the object table. As I'm adding rows to the object table, I want you to notice that the data renderer UI updates dynamically below. In addition to the object table, there are a few other components: a data renderer to display a single field from the response data, a geolocation renderer to display coordinates on an interactive map, and an array table. The array table allows for the selection of an array of objects or an array of basic types for rendering. For arrays, the array table displays the selected fields in columns with each array element as a row. Now that I've finished selecting the columns for display, I'll save off the data renderer. The incident timeline page now needs to be reloaded to utilize the renderer. Once I reload the page, the data renderer is applied to show the data in a user-friendly format. Early on, I created an incident with an error. Let's take a look at the data renderer for the error case caused by the invalid mail flow rule. Notice the data renderer UI does not display information. I need to update the data renderer to display the information available within the error response instead of a success response. I navigate to the Data Renderers tab within the configuration page and scroll down to the data renderer I previously created. Once I open the dialog, I'll enter the Response Renderer UI tab. For this error case, I'll add an alarm row to emphasize the error. Errors occur when the response contains an error object in the JSON. so the alarm row will only be shown when the error exists. I'll go ahead and add two datum components. The first datum is the name of the mailflow rule which was being sought. Please note that the datum template is in mustache template notation. The second datum is the error message returned. From previous inspection, I know the required mustache template notation format based on the error code. I can now save the data renderer and return to the incident's timeline. Once there, notice that the data renderer UI displays the error in a user-friendly format. Finally, I want to touch on the plugin supplied data renderers. Those are data renderers defined by us here at Nevolex Labs and included with a plugin installation or update. Unlike the data renderer I just created, a plugin supplied data renderer cannot be edited, but they can be disabled. It may, however, be cloned and customized for use within your Security Flow installation. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this data renderer tutorial helpful. Please feel free to reach out and contact us at nevolexlabs.com with any questions you may have.